Have you ever wondered why the meteorologists have it wrong? It's a question that crosses our minds on days when we're caught in a torrential downpour, despite the forecast promising a day of sunshine. Or when we're bundled up in layers, anticipating a cold front that never came. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's a common perception, almost a running joke, that weather forecasts are often incorrect. We've all been there, planning our day around a forecast that doesn't pan out, leaving us shaking our heads in mild annoyance. But let's not be too hard on the meteorologists. After all, predicting the weather isn't as simple as it seems. Weather prediction is a complex science. It's a blend of sophisticated technology, intricate algorithms, and a deep understanding of atmospheric physics. Meteorologists are constantly tracking an ever-changing sky, processing vast amounts of data in an attempt to anticipate Mother Nature's next move. Yet, despite these advances in technology and the tireless efforts of meteorologists, the weather remains in many ways unpredictable. Why is that, you ask? Well, the weather is influenced by a multitude of factors, many of which are interconnected and constantly changing. From atmospheric pressure and temperature to wind patterns and humidity levels, these elements all play a crucial role in shaping the weather. Furthermore, the exact interaction of these factors is not entirely understood, which adds another layer of complexity to the prediction process. And let's not forget, the weather doesn't operate on a fixed schedule. It's dynamic, it's fluid, and it's constantly evolving in ways that can be hard to pin down. So the next time you find yourself questioning the accuracy of a weather forecast, remember that predicting the weather is no easy task. It's a delicate balancing act between science and nature, a constant game of catch-up with the ever-changing atmosphere. So why is predicting the weather so challenging? Let's dive into the science behind it. The science of weather prediction is a blend of data analysis, physics, and a bit of guesswork. To understand the weather, meteorologists act like detectives, piecing together clues from a variety of sources. Satellites orbiting the Earth send back images showing the current state of the atmosphere. Weather stations on land and buoys at sea gather real-time data on temperature, wind speed and direction, humidity, and atmospheric pressure. These data points form a snapshot of the current weather across the globe. But weather is not static. It's an ever-changing, dynamic system. To predict how this system will evolve, meteorologists turn to computer models. These models are based on the physical laws that govern the behavior of the atmosphere. They include equations that describe how heat moves through the atmosphere, how air flows, how clouds form, and how these factors interact to create weather. Meteorologists input the data collected from satellites, weather stations, and buoys into these models, which then calculate how the current conditions are likely to change over time. The output is a forecast predicting the future state of the weather. But here's the tricky part. The Earth's atmosphere is a complex, chaotic system. Even tiny changes in initial conditions can lead to big differences in the forecast. This is known as the butterfly effect. To manage this, meteorologists run the models multiple times with slightly different initial conditions. This creates a range of possible forecasts and helps them to estimate the level of uncertainty in the prediction. And then there's the element of interpretation. Meteorologists look at the output of the models and use their experience and knowledge to make the final forecast. This is where the art of weather prediction comes in, blending with the science. However, these models aren't perfect and there's always a degree of uncertainty. Weather prediction is a bit like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with some of the pieces missing. You can get a pretty good idea of the overall picture, but the details might be a little fuzzy. Just remember, the next time you check the weather forecast, there's a whole lot of science and a bit of guesswork behind those predictions. Even with the best models and data, weather prediction has its limits. This brings us to a fascinating concept known as chaos theory. Now don't let the name scare you. Chaos theory is not about total disorder or mayhem. It's about understanding that small changes can have big effects. Some call it the butterfly effect, where a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil might set off a cascade of atmospheric events, leading to a tornado in Texas. This theory is particularly relevant to weather prediction. Our atmosphere is a complex dynamic system with countless variables interacting in ways we can't fully comprehend yet. Even with powerful supercomputers and sophisticated mathematical models, it's nearly impossible to accurately predict the weather down to the last raindrop or snowflake. Here's where the limitations creep in. No matter how precise our measurements, there's always a degree of uncertainty, a margin of error. And in the world of weather prediction, these small errors can lead to big misjudgments. This is especially true for long-term forecasts. The further out we try to predict, the more uncertain our forecasts become. Take temperature predictions, for instance. A slight miscalculation in the expected temperature for a particular day can drastically alter the forecast. If the predicted temperature is just a few degrees off, it could mean the difference between a mild, sunny day and a severe thunderstorm. We also have to consider the limitations of our measurement tools and techniques. We can't measure every square inch of the Earth's atmosphere, so we have to make educated guesses based on the data we do have, but don't lose all faith in your local weather forecast just yet. Despite these limitations, weather predictions have improved considerably over the years. Advances in technology and a better understanding of atmospheric dynamics have made our forecasts more reliable than ever. So while our forecasts have gotten much better over time, they will never be 100% accurate. But remember, even an imperfect forecast is better than no forecast at all. We've come a long way from looking at the sky and guessing what the weather will be. Weather prediction isn't just a science, it's also an art. Indeed, weather forecasting is a delicate dance between raw data and the human element. It's like a grand canvas painted with numbers, algorithms, and the subtle brushstrokes of intuition. Meteorologists are not just scientists, they're also artists. They curate a symphony of information, blending the rigid structure of data with the fluidity of experience. It's in this balance where the true artistry of weather prediction lies. Imagine a meteorologist sitting in front of a computer screen, staring at a complex array of charts, numbers, and models. These are the raw materials of their craft. But it's not just about reading these maps and models. It's about interpreting them, understanding the subtle nuances that the cold, hard numbers can't express. Experience plays a vital role in this interpretation. A seasoned meteorologist, who has tracked storms for years, can often see patterns and trends that a newcomer might miss. They can feel when a storm might take an unexpected turn or when a sunny forecast might cloud over. This intuition, honed over years of observation and study, can sometimes be the difference between an accurate forecast and a miss. Local knowledge is another key element in the art of weather prediction. Every region has its own unique weather patterns and quirks. A meteorologist who knows these local idiosyncrasies intimately can often tweak the forecast to be more accurate. They might know, for example, that a certain hill often deflects storm systems, or that a particular lake tends to create its own microclimate. These small adjustments can make a big difference in the accuracy of a forecast. Recent weather patterns also play a significant role. Weather, like many things in nature, tends to move in cycles. By observing these cycles, meteorologists can often predict future weather patterns with a surprising degree of accuracy. So, next time you check the weather forecast, remember the art and science that goes into it. It's not just about numbers and algorithms. It's about experience, intuition, and a deep understanding of the ever-changing dance of the atmosphere. This intricate blend of art and science makes weather prediction a fascinating and ever-evolving field. So, why do meteorologists sometimes get it wrong? It's a question we've all asked at one point or another, and the answer is as complex and fascinating as the weather itself. We've learned that weather prediction is a science that involves complex algorithms, high-tech equipment, and detailed data. Meteorologists use these tools to study the atmosphere, the wind patterns, the temperature variations, and a myriad of other factors. They feed this information into sophisticated models designed to predict how these elements will interact and change over time. However, as we've seen, these models and data have their limitations. The atmosphere is a turbulent and chaotic system, full of variables that can change rapidly and unpredictably. This leads to the influence of chaos theory, where even the smallest alteration can lead to significant changes in the outcome. This is often referred to as the butterfly effect, the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can set off a tornado in Texas. It's this inherent unpredictability that often throws a wrench in the most well-planned weather forecasts. But there's more to weather forecasting than just science and chaos. There's also an art to it. Meteorologists often rely on their intuition and experience to interpret the data and the models. They use their knowledge of past weather patterns and anomalies to make educated guesses about future weather. This is where the human element comes into play, and sometimes it's this intuition that proves to be the most accurate predictor. So in sum, the weather is an intricate dance of elements, a swirling mix of science, chaos, and intuition. And while meteorologists may not always hit the mark, their predictions are more often right than not. While weather prediction is not perfect, it's a fascinating blend of science, art, and a little bit of luck. So the next time you check the weather forecast, remember the incredible complexity that goes into those predictions. And maybe, just maybe, have a little more patience with your local weather person.